So what brought me back, I guess, as people would be maybe interested, was my wife was from Perth, and we had 2 kids in the States. It's pretty hard to bring up 2 little kids on your own, isolated. And so as many companies, as many expats, I think, find themselves in this situation where the pull and the value of being around family gets to a point that's what ended up bringing us back. If we didn't have kids, I might have stayed away. But what actually arriving back here, a few things have, I guess, caught my attention and have made it so that I'm very, very happy to stay here. And that is resources like this one, I must admit. Seri, this didn't exist when I was around, so I drew my inspiration from podcasts and books, and so you know, that started me daydreaming about traveling. And the Perkins wasn't built either, and that in itself, as a symbol of collaboration, has really made a difference as well. So I actually have come back feeling very lucky that at least, since I've been away, there's much more interest in entrepreneurship, in supporting local ideas, in bringing groups together to sort of work on these kinds of puzzles as well. And if I was playing things back, I could have gone a lot further, I think, from WA, which is pleasing to see. Yeah, definitely.
Let's talk about the entrepreneurship side of Michael Winlo now,
yes.
And your experiences in the States.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you this is day 1 of our mindset program. And I'm just interested in your reflections on the choices that you made. Obviously, we know the reason you came back, but some of the choices you made while you were working in those startups, and helping build teams, helping make difficult decisions. What guided you along the way?
There's far less structure or, I guess, deliberation than one might expect. A lot of times you're feeling a way forward. If you're working on an interesting problem that no one's worked on before, you're just making it up the whole way through. And so I really, what in terms of sort of modeling like a trajectory or reflecting on a career trajectory, it was more, I guess, whatever was the most interesting puzzle in front of me at the time and what I was kind of motivated to do, knowing that to commit the energy to working on something, you need to be kind of somewhat inspired by it. You can't really, so it's really about managing your energy, I suppose, and knowing that your enthusiasm will come in waves, right? And then when you're actually really enthusiastic about a puzzle, that's the time to go all deep into it. So I guess that was maybe the pattern of activity, but I was never that perhaps contrived about mapping out my career. I just knew that all the things I didn't want to do, and in, say, a medical specialty, I didn't want to give up a lot of creative interests that I had, and I didn't want to end up, I guess, a narrowist, which may be one fear that I had, and so that led me to explore other career options. I guess another sort of framework that I used to keep in the back of my mind was like, you're looking for this intersection between passions, opportunities, and your skills, and you'll develop certain skills over the way, and that will grow. But the opportunities ahead of you, you can kind of map those out as well. And are you kind of interested in this area? Do you think you've got something to give it this space? And is it an emerging opportunity? In terms of the classes of opportunities, it's good to tackle something that's pretty emergent when there is no world-class expert. At the time in the States, I had medical background. I had a personal interest in technology and data, I guess, but it wasn't that well developed. It certainly, I hadn't done any advanced training in that area. But I knew it was an emerging space that would become more relevant, and so that seemed like a great area to sort of build a career and take an interest, because it's the beginning of a wave, a new frontier. It's a place to put yourself at the front of a space, and so that was, I guess, a philosophical perspective that I had.
One of the things that I wonder, how did you cope when you were a bit afraid of taking that next step, or had you made the right decision?
Yeah.
How did you find the strength to keep going?
So one of the things that was challenging was obviously giving up, like, the medical career and all of the I guess, the stories that you tell yourself about, why you do medicine, and what your family tells themselves as well about, what you're doing. But for me, I was always thinking about things other than just being a specialist. For example, I was thinking about the system. I was thinking about how things were inefficient. I was thinking about if we just had better data, and we had better ways of making sense of this, we could avoid problems X, Y, Z. And realizing that even if I chose a specialty, things probably turn out okay, but I'll always be thinking about something outside. Whereas if I went and pursued this entrepreneurial itch of mine, I wouldn't be thinking about being a specialist. So I found that framing helpful, like knowing that choose the thing that has got your attention, that you can't let go of. And a really good bit of advice that came to me later, but I believe is relevant here too, is as soon as you see yourself being an entrepreneur, or if you can imagine yourself in that role, you're ready to do it. Because if you start visualizing yourself doing it, taking those steps, then you're ready. You won't have everything figured out, but there's some power in that. And I think once you commit, there's a famous quote, if you commit, Providence commits too, basically saying that once you've decided that's where you're going, you'll find that certain things will just line up, opportunities just open, that's hard to predict, hard to anticipate those, So I guess, and knowing that things will turn out okay. Entrepreneurship is a legitimate career. And another way to think about it, actually, which I found helpful, is think of it as a number of cycles. You have a handful of 4 to 5 year cycles, and nobody's going to critique you for wasting 4 years or trying something out. So if you think like that, I'll give 4 years to this and see where it goes. That's actually not a bad approach to take, because inevitably it'll lead to more and more opportunities like that.